Welcome back to our channel, coin lovers and treasure hunters. Today we're diving into the fascinating world of Australian currency to talk about the 1981 50-cent coin. Now at first glance this coin might seem like just another piece of change in your pocket, but the truth is some of these coins can be worth far more than their face value. From special mint marks to rare varieties and era coins, the 1981 50-cent has surprises that could make collectors pay big money. So grab your coin jars and check your wallets because you might just have a hidden treasure waiting to be discovered. Let's get started. The 1981 Australian 50-cent coin features the famous portrait of Queen Elizabeth II designed by Arnold Machin. This portrait was used on Australian coins between 1966 and 1984 and remains one of the most elegant designs of Her Majesty ever produced. Surrounding her profile, the inscription reads, "Elizabeth to Australia 1981. On the reverse side of the coin, you'll find the classic Australian coat of arms complete with the kangaroo and emu, both symbolic creatures that hold special meaning in Australian culture and identity. While the design may not appear unusual, it's the context of its mintage and the factors around its preservation that truly give the 1981 issue its collectability and potential value to numismatists." The 1981 Australian 50-cent coin had a massive production run with over 60 million coins struck at the Royal Australian Mint in Canberra. Because of this high number, the coin is not considered rare in general circulation. However, as is often the case in coin collecting, rarity is not only about how many were produced but also about how many have survived in pristine condition. Circulated examples of the 1981 50-cent are extremely common and generally only worth face value 50 cents, but in uncirculated or mint state conditions, especially in higher grading levels such as MS65 or higher, these coins can sell for several dollars to enthusiastic collectors who are trying to complete full-year sets of Australian decimal coinage. In 1981, the Royal Australian Mint also produced collector sets that included the 50-cent coin in stunning proof quality. These proof coins were struck with polished dies on specially prepared blanks, giving them a mirror-like surface and intricate details. A proof version of the 1981 50-cent coin can fetch a much higher price compared to its circulated counterpart, depending on the condition, packaging, and whether the full set remains intact. Proof coins can range anywhere from $10 to $50 AUD or even more depending on collector demand. This demonstrates that the same coin under different minting conditions can have dramatically different values in the market. One of the most exciting aspects of coin collecting is the possibility of finding errors, and the 1981 Australian 50-cent coin is no exception. Error coins such as those struck off-centre, double struck, or with clipped plankets are always in high demand. Collectors are willing to pay significant premiums for error coins because of their rarity and uniqueness. A regular 1981 50-cent coin may only be worth face value, but an error coin could be worth hundreds of dollars depending on the severity and visibility of the mistake. Always keep an eye out for coins that don't look quite right, because that little detail could make a common coin into a valuable collector's item. For collectors trying to build a full decimal collection, the 1981 50-cent coin is a must-have. Even though it's widely available, the key to long-term value lies in condition. Collectors always seek out coins in mint state or proof quality, and over time these become scarcer as circulation wears down the majority of coins. This is why coin holders' protective cases and careful handling are so important if you want to preserve the potential value of your coins. If you're just starting out, even grabbing a circulated 1981 50-cent from your pocket change can be the first step towards building an Australian decimal coin set that tells a story spanning decades. Let's also consider the international aspect of this coin. Australian coins, particularly those from the 20th century, are popular with collectors around the globe. This means the 1981 50-cent coin has a market not only within Australia but also internationally. Collectors in the United States, the United Kingdom, and Europe often seek out Australian coins because of their unique shapes, designs, and ties to the Commonwealth. The dodecagon design in particular makes the 50-cent coin stand out compared to the more traditional round coins of other nations. As such, coins in higher grades or in proof quality may see greater demand. overseas, which can push up values beyond what you might expect domestically. If you're wondering whether your 1981 50-cent coin is valuable, the first step is to check its condition. Coins in worn circulated condition are usually worth only face value. Uncirculated examples might fetch between $2 and $10 AUD, while proof coins could go much higher depending on demand and completeness of the set they were issued in. Error coins, as mentioned earlier, can command hundreds of dollars. Therefore, the 1981 Australian 50-cent coin is a great example of how value in numismatics is never straightforward. It depends on multiple factors, including condition, rarity, errors, and collector demand. While the 1981 50-cent coin is not particularly rare in circulation, it still holds potential for the patient collector. Storing away coins in mint condition or acquiring proof sets can be a rewarding investment over time, especially as fewer pristine examples remain in existence. Furthermore, building a full year-by-year collection of Australian 50-cent coins can be a satisfying hobby that also builds value. These types of collections are often sold as complete sets, which can command higher prices from collectors who don't want to go through the trouble of piecing them together individually. I'd like to remind you that the world of coin collecting is as much about history and culture as it is about value. The 1981 Australian 50-cent coin tells the story of its time, featuring the enduring symbols of the nation and the familiar portrait of the Queen. Whether you hold a well-circulated example or a gleaming proof, it's a piece of Australia's monetary and cultural heritage. So next time you come across a 1981 50-cent coin, don't just think of it as pocket change. Consider it as part of a much larger story of value, history, and collecting. If you found today's video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more in-depth coin collecting guides and discoveries. And as always, keep an eye on your change. You never know what treasures you might find. Thanks for watching.